Hi guys, it's Chris from daxtrader.co.uk and going to do a quick technical analysis video for the DAX and a market outlook for the 19th of November 2014. Nearly forgot what month we were in. Okay, so I've had a few laptop problems over the last few days and I've had another one this morning. So all of my charts were deleted off of the FXCM platform because I had to reload and reinstall it. So I had to spend the last hour or so on this laptop trying to get it all set up, which is annoying. But taking a look at the volume profile for this morning on the DAX, I predicted yesterday that if pushed, I'd have to say that we were going to gap higher, then close the gap and end up the day lower, perhaps even have the next 2 days lower. And it just goes to show that I'm not going to give up my day job and become a psychic because I was wrong. We gapped lower and we've closed the gap and gone higher. So completely the opposite, which is great. Now, I didn't have any trades open, so I haven't lost anything on this today. But it'll be interesting to see how this plays out because at the moment we're sort of bunched up in almost a mini sort of diamond here. And we're just about, by the looks of it, breached the 9,500 level by a couple of pips. And seem to be stalling at this level, wondering whether it wants to sort of find a bit of a volume surge and break out higher, or whether it's going to break down and have a correction today. So I'm going to watch this before I commit to any sort of position. Now, when we opened up this morning, we gapped lower and we pretty much sliced through the low volume pocket that was carved out yesterday on this surge to the upside here. And we were rejected at the bottom of that pocket where the sort of the higher volumes were traded yesterday. Haven't been able to get down to the VPOC from yesterday, so we haven't taken that out. If we do, then we're probably going to take out the value area low as well, or something get somewhere close to it. Certainly the low deviation low. So we're at the deviation high at the moment, and we've taken out the value area high from yesterday. So we'll, as I say, we're just going to sit and watch this and wait and see what happens. We are in an area where if it does break above the 95, then we're heading up towards the R1 for the day. And if it bounces down lower, then we're heading at least down towards VWAP, perhaps even towards the naked VPOC. VWAP's currently at just under 94.50. So that is the first part of the day. If we just go and have a little look at the daily chart, had to draw this fork back in. It's quite an interesting area at the moment because if you look at this fork, we have only really breached the top end of the fork once, and that was back at towards the end of September, around about the 18th. And as soon as we got outside of it, we had this massive reversal sell-off. So it'll be interesting to see how resistive this fork's going to be this time round because we are getting quite close to it. And if my prediction of 97.50 is going to be true for the rest of this year, then we're going to have something happen to break through that and see some follow through. So I might have to change my opinion on where we're going to end up for the rest of this year. Is that going to be realistic? Are we going to be breaking through a fork that's lasted for the best part of the second half of the year? Who can say? It's worked out to be pretty supportive down here as well, as we didn't actually, when we had that massive volume day to reverse the sell-off, to correct that sell-off, it didn't actually get to the bottom of this fork. So the fork seems to still be true, kind of just outside of it. We might want to adjust it even slightly to here, but we'll leave it there for the moment. And we'll see how today plays out. But we're through the Kumo cloud, and we're definitely on the right side of it. I think I might just take a look at the actual Ichimoku lines and take a look at see if there's any TK crosses that on a lower time frame might suggest that we're going to continue to the upside or find a better signal, if I like, or an entry to get in to go long. Okay, so on the lower time frame, there's nothing really to look at here because none of my original charts or lines are there. But I'll just pull up the indicator for the pivots. So the daily pivots for today, when it eventually decides to load them. There we go. 95.44 for the R1. 96.05 for the R2. There also is a high. Let's have a look on the 4-hour chart. Around about that 96 level I thought. Maybe not. Excuse me. Okay, well, ignore me there. So it'll be interesting to see how we do against these resistance levels today. For support, if we start heading down, then we've got a couple here. We've got 93.67 at S1 and the 92.51 at S2. Doubt very much we're going to get down to 92.51 today, because that's going to have to take out quite a lot of the most recent run over the last 2 days. I think a more realistic area, if we get up to R1 today, it's very unlikely we'd go past the S1 if we do experience a fallback. More than likely head down towards the pivot and perhaps close around about here before falling down tomorrow. So I'll stick to my my outlook from yesterday. I think we're probably going to have a correction today, unless we break quite significantly through the 95 level, which at the moment doesn't seem to be able to do, but you know, we are still pretty early in the morning. So let's take a look at some of the other markets as well. Some of the interesting ones that I've looked at. I've got a trade going live at the moment on Euro Swiss. Well, it's an order at least. I'm looking to go long from 120.05. 120.05. And I'm thinking with this one, there's not been a lot of action over the last couple of weeks, as we have been compressing down towards this 120 floor, which has been quite an interesting area. The Swiss National Bank has kind of put their last stand, if you like, at that level. So if we do get down there, you'd imagine there's going to be some form of intervention, a high probability setup that we can go long from that level. Without risking a huge amount of our capital. So at 120.05, we risked, say, 25 pips, or even, let's say 30 pips, we need 75 on the return for that. Then we're looking at taking it down just past, well, quite a way into that 119 zone, which Swiss National Bank will generally tend to defend. In fact, we could take it down as far as the 119.8 level. And we're looking to sort of, to get our 75 pips, we'd need to take it up to the 120.85, 120.86. But we could even go up to the 121 level. It's been there before. We might have to leave it on for a few weeks, maybe even a month. But that's going to be a pretty decent return for not a lot of risk. So I like that setup. I've traded that, and I'll update the trades a bit later on. What else? Okay, I've seemed to have fallen headfirst into a well with this one, but I entered a trade just before I set up the video earlier on into a short on the cable, simply because we had this massive surge which I tried to fade. I'm not feeling in love with it. I might stick a stop on at about 25 to 30 pips and a 2.5 to 1 to try and see if I can get anything from this. But I basically was looking to trade a breakout on the little setup that we were trapped in on the cable, and see if I can get back out and show you what I meant. So we were kind of trapped here, and if we're just taking a look at the moment at this sort of area here, and saying that if we were going to break out of this, we were going to sell short, as I was expecting this to be a short market, simply because the monetary policy from the BOE seems to have turned slightly dovish, and I just put a sort of a speculative sell further up here to say, well, you know, maybe we can get ourselves a better entry. We seem to have triggered that, but now we need to actually follow through with the sell-off. But at the moment, this one looks like a bit of a dog. So again, I'll update the sheet, and I might actually just take that one out. Okay, so yeah, we'll come back and see how that one's getting on. Euro dollar, there's my other dog. That one I went short with yesterday, was it? And perhaps I've misanalyzed this one, because it doesn't look like it's actually going to do what I want it to do. So I've got 30 pip stop on here, and yeah, whether or not I finish this one early, I might just take a look at a bit later on. Gold, it's moving around all over the place at the moment. It's up and down like yeah. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna give the analogy, but it's jumping around all over the place, and we'll just let this one play out. I've set the limits. We've got our stop down here at 11.90, and our profit target is at 12.10. So we'll see if we can get up there. Oil is interesting because I'm thinking of shorting this one, but I'd like to get a slightly better price. I mean, anybody who is short or has a sort of a bearish bias, I think on oil is probably already short and is holding their position. So, you know, I'm pretty late to the party, but I still think there's some room to move on this one. I can't see anything in the next couple of weeks for this to really change, and I think it will give a fairly obvious signal to get out. So I think I might as well just jump on the bandwagon on this one, but just find a slightly better entry. And FTSE will be an interesting one as well, because I am happy to trade this range, and if we break out, I'm happy to trade a breakout over these levels. But I haven't really been able to find a better entry yet, so I'm just watching this one to see if anything happens for us to get in at a better level. So that pretty much brings you up to date. For DAX, I'm sitting out and watching. I'm going to wait and see what happens with it, and see if we get a kind of a break out of this mini triangle formation that seems to be developing at the moment. If we get a significant breakout above 95, then I might consider a long. And if more than likely, I think we're gonna trade to the downside today. So probably favouring a short, but we'll wait and see what happens with price action over the next hour or so. Good luck trading for the rest of the day, and I'll be around on Twitter and StockTwits if you want to look me up.